Welcome to a brand new edition of Stupid News, the first installment in this series in what, 8 or 9 months, something crazy like that. This would be the part of the video where I promise to do these more often and say, well, I'm doing it again now, so obviously I find the fun in this series again. I'm gonna do it on a monthly basis or a bi-monthly basis or something a little bit more frequent than like almost a year gap of no installment of this series, but I find that every time I make promises like these, I end up breaking them, so fuck it. I'm not making any promises. There could be another long stretch of no stupid news videos after this one. Why has it taken me so long to make another one of these videos? You want the truth? You want the God honest truth? Okay, here we go. I am lazy. That's all it really boils down to. These videos obviously take longer to make than my regular 5 to 7 minute long rant videos, which those usually take around 20 minutes to make, give or take. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less even. And these videos take upwards to a day or two to make, and I don't really like working on videos for that long. Even though these videos are not hard work at all, I just read articles and then give my thoughts on said articles, but I'm just that lazy. So yeah, get mad at me, it's all completely my fault, but then again, these videos are usually my lesser viewed videos, so I really don't think many people really care that this series was gone for so long. But anyways, all of that aside, I got some doozies for you this time, and I can't wait to get into some of these stories. So anyways, without further stalling, let's go. Mr. Potato Head drops the mister. Sort of. Hasbro created confusion Thursday when it announced that it would drop the Mister from the brand's name in order to be more inclusive and so all could feel welcome in the potato world, quote unquote. It also said it would sell a new playset this fall, without the Mr. and Mrs. designations that will let kids create their own type of potato families, including 2 moms or 2 dads. But in a tweet later that afternoon, Hasbro clarified that while the brand is changing, the actual Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head characters will still live on and be sold in stores. In a picture posted on Twitter, the Mr. and Mrs. names are less prominently displayed at the bottom of the box, instead of the top. While it was announced today that the Potato Head brand name and logo are dropping the Mr., I am proud to confirm that Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head aren't going anywhere, and will remain Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, the company tweeted. The tweet came after news of the brand name change exploded on Twitter, with people asking if Barbie will change her name next. I think Hasbro needs to drop the bro and just be Has, another person tweeted. Hasbro appears to want to have it both ways. Expand the brand while not killing off its most iconic characters, which appeared in the Toy Story films. They are looking to broaden the franchise, said Robert Pasikoff, I'm sorry, I suck at pronouncing names, founder of marketing consultancy Brand Keys. You take the focus of what is essentially one character, and now allow it to be a platform for many characters. Kimberly Boyd, a vice president at Hasbro, said the intention of the brand name change was to be more inclusive and to have the characters still live within the Potato Head universe. It created a lot of excitement, she said about the reaction. Okay, so here's my take. I personally don't mind this, like, at all. If Hasbro wants to drop the Mr. and Mrs. label from the Potato Head characters, that's fine with me. I don't really care. They're free to do that at their own volition. I mean, they're not even really dropping it like it says in the article. You're still going to see Mr. or Mrs. preceding the words Potato Head on the box. It's just going to be less prominent. But still, this is the source of outrage. This is actually what I want to focus on. So many people are mad over this. Even my mom heard about this. Some of her friends on Facebook were mauling over this. She showed me some fucking boomer tier meme with Mr. Potato Head on it, and it said, "What the fuck did I do to deserve this?" You know, basically cancel culture bullshit. Because, yeah, a plastic toy potato can totally be canceled. Something that's not even a sentient, living human being, but it's pretty much just an excuse to be transphobic or NB-phobic or whatever you want to label this as, because anything that conservatives don't exactly understand has to be the source of fear and hatred for them. Guess what? It's a toy potato. This is not serious business. This is not something worth getting worked up over. You can still call it Mr. or Mrs. Potato Head. It doesn't matter at all because, again, these are toys, not living human beings. But whatever, if your priorities are Dr. Seuss or Mr. Potato Head or other stupid bullshit, Gina Carano, whatever the fuck, fine, whatever, nothing I can say is going to change your mind, so why do I even bother? And yes, I do know, I said in my last video, I'm done talking about the cancel culture bullshit, or at least a lot of it. this isn't a whole video dedicated to the topic, so I think my promise still stands. Fuck you, do not call me out. I didn't even consider making a whole video on this because this is such a stupid controversy. Like, imagine getting so mad over a children's toy. You have people like Mark Dice on Twitter in regards to this saying it's time for Republican states to secede or something crazy like that. Yeah, time to secede, time to start a second civil war because Hasbro decided to not make the Mr. or Mrs. preceding Potato Head as prominent. Wow. But I had some things to say about it, so may as well include its own little segment within a video that has multiple other topics, right? And speaking of other topics, let's move on to the next story, shall we? Sex education. Married couple had no clue they needed to have sex to have a baby and needed lessons from a nurse. A married couple had no idea they had to have sex to have a baby, and just thought children came along, the nurse has revealed. Rachel Hearson, 59, has worked as a midwife, health advisor, and nurse for more than 40 years. And now she is sharing some of her bizarre encounters while visiting family homes in her new book, Handle with Care, Confessions of an NHS Health Advisor. Rachel revealed how she was forced to teach the husband and wife about the logistics of sex after realizing they had no idea about their own biology. Previously speaking to the Mirror, she explained they had been married for some years but children hadn't come along. The GP deduced they didn't know how to make babies, and it was my job to ensure they did. What a superhero you are. They genuinely thought babies arrived as a result of simply being married and had no clue. Teaching someone about sex is quite a responsibility, but within a couple of visits the pair couldn't keep their hands off each other. Rachel's extensive career has seen her witness all sorts of bizarre sexual behavior, including one visit when a man masturbated in front of her. She was visiting a new baby whose mum was an offender. While sat with the woman and her boyfriend, she noticed the unmistakable rhythmic wrist action. Wink, wink, out the corner of her eye, but continued with the visit as though nothing had happened. Just when you think you've seen and heard it all, stories like this crop up. Stories about a grown married couple not knowing where babies come from. You know, this is shit that I thought at like age 7, you know? You just simply get married and then, oh, your wife is pregnant. You're gonna have a baby. And then a little later in life, I heard about something about being in bed involving making a baby, so I thought maybe a married couple just simply has to sleep with each other, you know? Not the other kind of sleep, the normal kind of sleep, you know, just sleeping, and then a baby pops up, and then like a year or so later, I finally learned what sex really was. It's hard to believe that there are people out there who are really this stupid, and it's also even harder to believe that two people who are actually this stupid manage to find each other and marry each other. But hey, like the saying goes, I guess this is a match made in heaven. And God bless this nurse lady. All of the shit she has seen that this article details, and teaching this couple how to have sex. Good for her, right? But at the same time, that poor baby that is going to be created by this couple are going to have complete Neanderthals as parents, and I really fear for the future of that child if they actually do decide to have a child, which I'm sure they will. But hey, maybe I'm thinking a little too optimistically here, but maybe, just maybe, this couple is so fucking dumb, they forget how a baby comes about and they just wait for that magical moment where the wife just randomly becomes pregnant. Kylie Jenner faces backlash for lavish party that appears to flout coronavirus rules. Doesn't give a damn. The star allegedly violated rules regarding location, social distancing, and more. Kylie Jenner appeared to flout some coronavirus safety protocols put in place by Los Angeles County with a birthday party this week for 3-year-old daughter Stormy. The 23-year-old makeup mogul took to Instagram Monday to show off images from the party for the birthday girl, who she shares with rapper Travis Scott. In years past, Jenner thrown lavish birthday parties for Stormy dubbed Stormy World, but she announced Monday via her Instagram story that for obvious reasons the event had been cancelled, according to BuzzFeed. However, she'd be inviting Stormy's cousins and other family members over for a celebration instead. In her post, Jenner shared videos from the gathering which allegedly broke protocols put in place by the county to curb the ongoing spread of coronavirus. Furthermore, private gatherings of persons from 3 different households households or less are limited to a maximum of 15 people, the county order states. A group composed of Jenner's parents, siblings, nieces, and nephews exceeds that number. The order also requires residents to host all private gatherings outdoors, while Jenner's was clearly indoors. Social distancing guidelines, including maintaining 6 feet between attendees, wearing cloth face coverings, also appear to have been violated based on photos obtained by the outlet. Singing at private gatherings is also strongly discouraged by the county, as it increases the risk of COVID-19 transmission via droplets, and Jenner and her guests were seen singing Happy Birthday in unison without masks on. Don't you just fucking hate celebrities, man? I sure do. Well, a lot of them at least, but Kylie Jenner is certainly one of them. You know, the self-made billionaire that actually has her already rich mommy running her business in reality, and the only contribution Kylie has to her cosmetics company is wearing the latest cosmetics and selfies that she posts onto Instagram. But I digress. Is it really that important that you throw this birthday party for your 3-year-old who is not even going to remember this birthday party? Is it worth potentially transmitting COVID to a bunch of people who would transmit COVID to even more people just for the stupid fucking birthday party? And it's so funny because I distinctly remember, like last year, Kylie Jenner saying, stay indoors, self-quarantine, follow all protocols in your area to help stop the spread of COVID. Yet here we are, like a year later, she's throwing this big birthday party for her daughter, not giving a single solitary fuck about COVID protocol, not giving a single solitary fuck about the well-being of those who go to the party, and not giving a single solitary fuck about the people who could potentially catch COVID from the people who attend this party. But no, she's a billionaire, she's a celebrity, she's above the law, she can do whatever she wants. Fuck celebrity culture, fuck idolizing celebrities. I'm so fucking sick of it because a lot of these people are not good people in the slightest. They are actually shittier than the common folk because they feel that they're above the law and they can do whatever they want because of their status in society. God, let's just tax these rich fuckers already. They're obviously pouring money into worthless shit like a stupid birthday party for an infant that won't even remember said birthday party, like I said a minute ago. We had a small, teeny tiny birthday party for my cousin just a few days ago. And we all wore masks, we maintained social distancing, we didn't even stay for that long. It was just simply wishing her a happy birthday, singing her a happy birthday, again with masks on, maintaining social distancing, and it was just me, a couple of cousins, and some of her friends, and that was it. It was a little thing. We still had fun. It was still a good party. And my mom plans to do the same for me, even though I really don't give a fuck about my birthday and the fact that I'm turning 20 in less than 2 weeks. Jesus Christ, that frightens me more than anything. But, hey, I mean, some cousins will come. My father is coming down. That's certainly less than 15 people. And of course, we're all going to maintain social distancing, wear masks, follow protocols because we're not fucking idiots. And it should still be fun. You don't need a huge birthday bash, especially for an infant. For the past, 10 years before this year, my birthdays were just regular days. The only thing different about them were that my mom would get a cake, and then she, my grandma, God rest her soul, and my uncles would sing happy birthday to me. I'd blow out candles, open some gifts, and that was it. We didn't really do much, and I was content with that. But we're just dirty working class folk. We're not part of the 1%, so we have to follow these protocols. Meanwhile, these rich fuckers don't have to, because they're rich and famous. Yeah, I get it. Totally fair system we have here. And because none of these videos would be complete without a Florida man story, Florida man points gun at neighbor for flying Biden flag, commands dog to kill deputies. A Fort Myers man was arrested after getting upset that his neighbor was flying a Biden flag, officials said. Edward LaCourse, 75, was arrested on Monday night and faces an aggravated assault with a weapon charge, deputies with the Lee County Sheriff's Office said. Neighbors told deputies that LaCourse was upset about a Biden flag on their property and started verbally assaulting them. The victims said they had never had a conversation with LaCourse in the 18 years that they have lived there. Following the dispute, deputies arrived and knocked on LaCourse's door. He opened his door and commanded his collie mix dog to kill, deputies said. Deputies found the shotgun LaCourse used to point at his neighbor with a round in the chamber and 3 rounds in the tube. LaCourse was arrested and faces a charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without the intent to kill. I absolutely love stories like this. Not for the fact that someone was terrorized into taking down their Biden flag on their own private property, but for the fact that It just pokes a hole into the whole party of law and order narrative that conservatives love to spin. We're Republicans, we follow the law, we love the cops. Meanwhile, there are crazy Trump supporters out there who would train their dogs to kill police. But oh no, 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 Blue Lives Matter, we love the cops. Oh, please. You only like the cops when they're killing minorities, but when they target you guys, oh, all of a sudden you're ACAB. All of a sudden you hate the cops. All of a sudden you rebel against the cops. So which is it? Do you hate them or do you like them? Because this bullshit double standard just does not stand. You can't just like the cops when they're targeting people you don't like, but when they target you, all of a sudden now they're evil. Now you don't like them. It kind of sort of doesn't work that way. Either you hate them or you don't. So be principled, please. Asking conservatives to be principled. Holy shit. Who am I thinking I'm talking to? And I know you might be thinking, well, what if the roles were reversed? What if it was a Biden supporter coming up to someone's doorstep with a gun to terrorize someone into taking down their Trump flag that they have on their private property? Of course, that is shitty too. There is someone right by me that has a Trump flag on their front lawn. I give their house a dirty look, but I would never do something to that extent, and I don't think anyone should do something to that extent to them because, again, it is their own private property. They are free to be an idiot on their own private property. So yeah, unlike conservatives, I have this thing called principles, but anyways, I don't have too much else to say about this story. I just picked this because, again, it just pokes holes in the whole we follow the law narrative that conservatives love to spin, when in reality that was just them cheering on the killing of minorities at the hands of the police. And I'm willing to bet that this guy that did this was one of those people this past summer. They probably cheered on the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, the shooting of Jacob Blake, under the guise of, well, they shouldn't have been criminals, they should have just followed the law, they shouldn't have associated with the criminals. But now after the Capitol raid, all that shit is out the window. Until the next big story of an African American being killed by the police comes out. Then all of a sudden they'll be like, we follow the law, we love our cops all over again. Biden is locking up migrant children. Will the world still care with Trump gone? This week, the Biden administration did the unthinkable. It reopened a Trump-era detention site for migrant children. The detention center, a reconverted camp for oil field workers in Carrizo Spring, Texas, is expected to hold 700 children between the ages of 13 and 17, and dozens of kids have already arrived there. This is an awful development, reminding me of some of the worst abuses of the Trump years, and while we obviously don't know how this ominous development will play out in the long run, what we do know is this: unaccompanied migrant children deserve compassion, not detention, damn straight. But rather than seeking out new and better solutions, the Biden administration is instead trying to sell us an image of a kinder, gentler imprisonment. Now look, I know I used to be hardcore against voting for Biden in the months leading up to the election, and then what seemed like at last minute I voted for Biden in the election, even though that was actually me wrestling with my thoughts for like weeks on end leading up to the election. Should I vote for Biden? Should I abstain? And then my thought process was yes. I trust Biden more with COVID. I trust Biden more with racial tensions in this country. And even though I know Biden would by no means be this miracle president that fixes everything wrong with this country, he is infinitely less dangerous than Trump. If we got a second term of Trump, that would have been disastrous for this country, for COVID, for many other things. Trump accelerated this country's descent into fascism by tenfold, and who knows what a second term of his presidency could have resulted for this country. He could have cranked the dial up to 11 because at that point he would have no worry of not being re-elected after that term because it would have been his last term. Unless he went full-on wannabe dictator and fought for more terms. But anyways, with that said, I do not regret voting for Biden, at all. Any opportunity to at least slow this country's fast descent into fascism, I will take. But that absolutely does not mean I thought for 1 second that Biden would be this wonderful president that would be the complete opposite of Trump, because obviously that would be me living completely detached from reality. And obviously, in this instance, he is not all that far away from Trump when it comes to his treatment of migrant children. Yeah, sure, there may now be decorations that quote-unquote celebrate these children's cultures in these cells now, but do not be mistaken, these are still detention centers, these are still centers where these children are separated from their families because they committed the egregious crime of wanting a better life. The treatment of these children might be ever so slightly better than under Trump's administration. The aesthetic of this facility might be a little more pleasing than the ones under Trump's administration, but do not let that fool you. Do not be mistaken, and absolutely do not let that be justification for you to bend like a pretzel and excuse this and be like, well, at least Biden is treating these children at least a little bit better, right? I've seen so many ride or die Biden types saying shit like this, trying to excuse this because it's Biden doing it, even though under Trump you chastised him for doing the same exact thing. Again, maybe Trump was a little less humane than Biden. Okay, he was less humane than Biden when it came to his treatment of migrant children, but that still should not give Biden a pass for essentially doing the same thing as Trump, except a little bit more humanely. Oh wow, Biden's treating these children a little bit better than Trump, even though he's still locking them up in detention facilities. Let me get down on my knees and kiss his fucking feet. No, I'm not doing that. I am actually disgusted by this, and anyone who actually has a set of principles should be disgusted by this. It does not matter if it's a Republican administration, it does not matter if it's a Democrat administration. This is still disgusting. This should absolutely be called out, and it should not be excused just because, again, a Democrat is in office now. It just shows how much neoliberals don't actually fucking care about issues. They only care about politics when it's someone they don't like that's in office. But now Biden is in office. Someone they actually do like. So, it's time to go to brunch. Biden is locking up migrant children in detention facilities. At least he's treating them at least a little bit better, right? At least it's not Trump doing it, right? So that shouldn't be cause for concern because we have a Democrat in the White House now. Yay, everything is sunshine and rainbows. Fuck you. You people are LARPers. You never actually cared about issues. You only cared about dunking on Trump for some brownie points, or in some other people's cases, for internet clout. Replying to his tweets with the most asinine shit, "Sir, this is a Wendy's," and then seeing all the likes that accumulates, and only caring about that. And you never cared about any real politics. Your set of politics were just Orange Man bad, and I hate using that meme because it's used by Trump supporters to dismiss any criticism of Trump whatsoever. But it's true. That's the only thing you cared about. Orange Man bad, Democrat good, and now you have a Democrat in the office and you just don't care about politics anymore. All of a sudden, this shit is just conveniently irrelevant now. And whenever we get the next Republican president, you will all of a sudden, like the flick of a fucking switch, start caring again. Calling them out for the same exact fucking things that Biden did, more than likely. This is why, even though this will probably never happen in this country's history, I hope the two-party system is fucking abolished because people become so partisan blind that they call out the other party that they're against for doing the same exact fucking things that the party they're affiliated with does, but it's only bad because it's the other side doing it. Be good and obedient and don't question your side, ever. But unfortunately, this is not a new issue in this country at all. It has always been an issue, and will continue to be an issue for as long as this country continues to exist. Most citizens in this country are so complacent with the way things are, they don't see the fundamental issues in the system we live under. So things probably won't change for at least a long, long time, probably past my lifetime, but hey, I can still dream of a better future, right? I can still work towards a better future for future generations. Same with anyone else listening to this, and same with anyone else who actually does care about progressive change. And that's all for this installment of Stupid News. If you have a stupid news story that you would like to share with me, feel free to either do it in my Discord server, I have a whole channel dedicated to stupid news stories in there, or at me on Twitter with the article that you want to share with me. Perhaps I'll share it in the next installment of Stupid News. And who knows when that will be, because there will probably be another big hiatus after this video. We shall see. It depends on if I feel up to it and I'm not lazy, like I usually am with my YouTube channel. But yeah, anyways, this world will forever be stupid for as long as humans continue to exist. That's all the stupid news I had to report on. Bye-bye.